Okay, so for oral communication and context, the module number 2 is about the types of communication based on the levels of communication. So, under module number 2, we have letter A, intrapersonal communication. This type of communication is about communication of a person to oneself, to his own self. So, meaning, no words or no person, no conversation between a person to another. But this type of conversation is only for a certain individual, for an individual. So, meaning, this person is talking to himself. An example that I can give, okay, is okay, an example that I can give, we can have in a context. Okay, what particular context can we create or can we give as an example for intrapersonal communication is when you are on taking an examination, and of course, number one, you are thinking. Number two, okay, you are making decision or you are decision making. Number three, you are answering an exam, okay, or an answer to a question. So, something like that. Or you are memorizing. So, these are the things that, or the activities that can be under intra-personal communication, okay? So, the next one is intrapersonal communication. So in this picture, we have two people who are talking to each other. It can be a formal, um, it's about business, could be, right? So this is an example of dyad. Dyad means two people are conversing or talking to each other. And another one is small group. So small group is consisting of 3 to 5 to 6 to 10 people who are talking. Example is groupings inside the classroom, Bible study, and many more. So that's for the interpersonal communication. Next, we have the transpersonal. And under transpersonal, we have communication like public communication. An example is public speaking events. So this one is a public speaking events wherein the speaker case is in front of an audience. So that is an example of public communication. Next is the organizational communication. It takes place when individuals and groups within an organization communicate with each other. An example, we have external and internal. Okay, let's have an example. For internal communication, okay, internal communication, let's say a group of teachers of CSHS, okay, will be called for a meeting. So the school principal of CSHS will call their attention that there will be a meeting. School principal of CSHS. So they are only in one organization. So this one is an example of internal communication. Now, for the external communication, we have an example. For external, we have, okay, for if we are sending a request, CSHS is sending a request to, okay, a request to, okay, barangay Kupang. Okay, the government or local government. Okay, so if we are sending a request, maybe Brigada Escuela, so this one is an example of external communication. Yan. Okay, so that's it. Now, the next one or the last one is intercultural. From the word culture, and inter meaning between or beyond cultures. Cross-cultural, something like that. Okay, so an example is Christian converses with a Muslim. An American and African sharing their views. Chinese politician and American leaders are discussing. Okay, so one good example that I gave in my presentation is the TV series The Legal Wives. How they communicate with each other since this girl in the middle is a Catholic and all the characters are Muslims. And this one is the first wife, this is the third wife. This is the second wife. So in this case, the second wife, she cannot handle polygyny, or when you say polygyny, having more than one marriage, which is a culture of the Muslim. Aside from that, some famous examples of intercultural communication is the story of a vendor who is selling isda and a vendor who is selling isda. This vendor is from Batangas. And he said, isda, isda. And another vendor is from Bicol selling Bicol selling sira. So, what happened? The Batanggenyo, okay, had a fight with the Bicolano. He accused the Batanggenyo, or the Batanggenyo accused the Bicolano of saying that what or shouting or destroying the image of him because of telling the whole community that the isda that he is selling is sira. Whereas when you mention sira in Bicol, sira means isda. Another one is when someone buy utong. So the word utong is an Ilocano term for sitaw or string beans. So, but in Tagalog, utong means, so that is Ilocano, this one, okay? So, in Ilocano, in Ilocos, Ilocano. But in Tagalog, utong is, it means nipple. So, that's in Tagalog. So, there might be a misunderstanding between the Tagalog and the Ilocano.